Hello everyone, I'm Greg Weaver. Welcome to the Audio Analyst. Pardon me. Today's episode was both inspired by and delayed a day later than usual because of a several-day visit from an audio buddy. Because of my now routine after-hours LP spin sessions at many audio shows like the Capitol Audio Fest and Expona, I get to meet and visit with many audiophiles and music lovers I would not typically have opportunity to run into or to interact with. Charlie Lein of Virginia is a business owner, a dedicated and informed music lover, an audiophile, and a drummer. He and I first met during one of my LP sessions at Expona, and through his ongoing attendance at these sessions over the past 5-odd years, we have become friends. Though we had talked about him visiting and getting to spend time in front of my world-class system, it was just this past week that Charlie was able to carve time out of his professional and personal schedule and was able to set aside the several days it would take for a visit to the Audio Analyst here in the Midwest. And I thought it a perfect opportunity to discuss the reasons, the why behind the how, that we have become such fast friends. Now, for us, it is all about the music. That may seem contrary to some people who collect gear, but for us, it's about the music. In fact, the only reason that people like Charlie and I, and honestly, most all of my closest friends and colleagues, and I would hazard to guess most of you watching, have put together and built up such engaging music systems, more often than not, systems that are typically only limited in their level of expressiveness and musicality by our disposable income, is that we want to get as close to revel in the message and power of the music that our favorite artists have taken the time, energy, and expense to capture and share as recordings with us, the music-loving proletariat. Now, Charlie and I had a few minutes to share thoughts on his visit in front of the camera, with only a few minor distractions from Miss Stella. Take a look. All right, everybody. Here he is, Charlie Lein, my buddy. First of all, thanks for taking the time. It's important for people to understand that we met through shows, and because of our passion for music and similar things, we've gotten to be good friends. And you decided to take some time and come up here and check this out. Why don't you tell us all about your system, what you have at home, what you use?
Sure, Greg. Well, to start with the sources, work our way out from there. I have a Oppo BDP95. Okay, no special edition, just the stock unit, which of course is a universal player.
Yep.
That works for me because I can do video, Blu-ray, movies with my projection system. But I
SACD?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
DVD.
Yeah.
Believe it or not,
Any
there's
optical.
DVD audio,
Yeah.
and I do have a few of those.
I do too, yeah.
In case you guys have never heard of those.
Yeah.
Defunct. But yeah, and the Oppo I chose because I knew it was a good all-around player, but the 95 series, like, as anybody knows, when the 5 is at the end of that unit, you've got the dedicated stereo analog. XLR inputs. Yeah, so or outputs. So that's I like that. So when I'm listening to stereo, I've got the highest quality they can get out of it. Then working down the stream, well, let's take care of the analog. The analog, it's one of the humble Edgar Vilcher legendary tables, the ARXA. I found one used in very good shape. Hot rodded, paid to have it kind of hot rodded and updated. It's a really nice finished version of that table. I should mention too, I have some line conditioning, some power conditioning.
Okay.
I have a Panamax unit that everything's plugged into.
What stylus, what cartridge?
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. On the ARXA, I have an Audio Technica 540 ML.
Okay. Phono stage?
Phono stage I just use on my my processor, my preamp
Okay.
processor.
And that is?
Which I'll get to. Okay. It's the Marantz AV8801.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you need to know for source is a while back I ripped my entire CD collection to a 2 terabyte hard drive.
Okay.
Of course, made another one that's in the safe deposit box.
Yeah.
Always do that
when
you rip your collection because hard drives do go bad. And that's jacked into the USB port of the BDP95, so I can use it basically as a music server, which is nice. Now, getting to preamplification, I already
Yeah.
touched on the Marantz. For amplification, because I have you, as you know, I have the Von Schweikert Audio VR4 Mark III HSE,
Which I had for years and reviewed.
right? Hovland Special Edition. You were ahead of me on the curve.
Well, it's only because Albert was kind enough to send me the first pair that he built for review.
Yeah,
It was
that's-
insane.
That's amazing.
Well, and also because he was going to send somebody to do the photography for the ads and everything there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like, you know. But yeah, I had a pair, had to be, what, 2000-ish, 2001-ish, somewhere in there. Anyway.
Yeah, and yeah, believe me, viewers, it's like this guy knows so many people in the industry. I'm so jealous of his friendships
It's crazy.
and the stories that I've heard these past couple of days. But anyway, yeah. So then to amplification, I found I actually had to experiment with the VR4s when I first got them. I went through a Rotel amp, I went through an Adcom. I wanted to go 5-channel because it needed to also be a surround system when it needed it to be. Nothing worked, and then oddly enough, I did some research. Based on what the research produced, it seemed to me that the Sunfire, which is built by Bob Carver, the Sunfire Cinema Grand Signature.
Yeah.
See, not the regular, but the Signature series.
Yeah.
Would be something worth trying because the speakers I found were really wanted
Oh,
current.
yeah.
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 So I hooked that up, and it was like there it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's the amp that those speakers really like. Now because that's 5 channels, you think, okay, I've just got my 5 surround sound speakers. No, because the VHR, VSA VR4s are biampable. I run 4 channels. You get 2 channels to the mid-range tweeter modules, 2 channels to the woofer modules, and then the remaining channel is my center channel. It's a Gallows CC10, I think it's called. But then I needed 2 more amplifiers for my surround speakers, and I got a good deal, brand new, on a pair of Emotiva XPA 100 monoblocks.
You know, that's what I'm still using over in my theater is the Emotiva stuff.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I was like, I feel good about that.
Yeah.
You know,
So now-
Greg thinks that has cred. You know?
Well, no, so talk about the speakers briefly.
Okay.
What color scheme did you get? Because I had the gray with, I think, the light oak.
Yep, I saw that.
Which
in your
was
review. Your
not
review,
my
by
favorite
the way, was
color.
one of probably the main review that I read when I was researching. What are these Von Schweikert Audio things?
Oh, yeah?
I'd never heard of them.
Yeah.
And I noticed there was a pair available from a guy in Atlanta. And I said, let me see. I feel like I'm ready to upgrade my speakers. I always do that. I always dig deep and do all my research
Sure.
so that when I pull the trigger, I know what I'm doing. And in the research, I came across your review.
Still is pretty
and it's
good.
like that review, you love them so much.
Yeah,
that
just a bit, yeah.
It was key to my decision
Yeah.
to go with those.
Cool.
But but the ones I have the black wrap
Oh, yes.
with the gloss black caps,
That would be nice, I think.
base and
I
top
think
caps.
that'd be nice.
It works well for my decor.
Well, now, so you've obviously gotten a special synergy. You picked pieces based on how they performed in your system,
Absolutely.
right?
That's key.
And that's key. We get that. And I've said for dozens of years, reviews are a great place to get a sense of what might work for you. But it's rare that you're going to choose a product solely on a review. It's good that it gets you excited, but if you get a chance to hear it before you buy it, you want to go do that. Sometimes you don't have the opportunity. Stores aren't like they used to be, but you certainly want to do that. Now, tell us, very briefly, in general, the strengths of the system, what it is that makes you so happy with it. Because you've heard me say this before. I don't care if you have a $500 system. I don't care if you have a $5 million system. If it makes you want to get up and dance and sing and brings you to tears occasionally and makes you laugh, that's
And
all
that's
that matters.
synergy.
Yeah.
That's important, right?
Yeah, that's why it would do all that, obviously. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think all of my equipment that I have now, other than the Marantz preamp processor, was pre Von Schweikert speakers.
Okay.
Okay, so even with other speakers, that BDP Oppo 95, you guys know, the legend of Oppo. That was just all of those players were killer players
Yeah.
for the money. When I upgraded to that was a significant increase in the soundstage opening up, soundstage getting deeper, definitely richness in the low end. I think that the mids and highs I was doing pretty good with previous units that I had. And I had an 83 before the 95s,
Yeah.
and then before that. But I think I always was okay with that. But with the 95, with using those XLR in outputs for the stereo listening, that was a bit of a game changer. Okay, again, some changes are subtle, as you and I both know.
Hi, baby
We got
girl.
our friend Stella today.
How you doing, baby girl?
I met my baby girl. Yeah, visiting here. But
I know.
But really, the short version of the answer to that question is So many of my changes in the past 5 years, because I think I bought the Von Schweikers about 5 years ago,
Yeah.
have been those speakers.
Yeah.
I don't care what I had, when I dropped those speakers in and then got them dialed in with the amplifier, the right amplifier, oh my goodness. All of a sudden, I had never listened to, and to this day I've never heard, Greg and I were talking about this, I've never heard speakers
Come on, Stoll.
other than Von Schweikert Audio that can do this
Okay.
as well as they do it. I'm not saying there isn't one out there that can't, but all of a sudden my sound stage
man.
went
Come on.
from speaker to speaker to well beyond.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'll sit and listen to music sometimes and close my eyes
Yeah.
and just like, and then I play a game
Oh, yeah,
with
we-
myself. I
we all
close-
do it.
I
Yeah.
close my eyes and then I
You
point,
point,
to,
and then you
point
look
to where I'm
and
hearing
see
that
where-
maraca,
yeah.
and then I'm like,
Oh, shit.
that's like 2 feet over
Yeah.
from my speaker limits. Yeah. So, and the Von Schweikerts gave me much better low end.
Yeah.
Still not as much as I like as a drummer.
Yeah.
I like to hear my kick drum.
Yeah.
So I did add dual subwoofers.
Sure.
But low end extension, a rightness to vocals.
Yeah.
That I had never heard before.
They have what I would argue is there's a purity to pitch and a definition to pitch that you don't get with every other speaker in the same price range.
That's a good way to put
And
it,
you saw my episode on the Von Schweikert sound, right?
Yes,
And
of course.
Yeah, I mean that started with the original VR4s and went all the way to my Ultra 9s now. Oh, actually up through the Ultra 7s, which I just recently got a chance. Those are their latest introduced speakers. So.
Yeah.
Settle down, girl.
And again, it's interesting because here I am a Von Schweikert Audio man, and it's like, so it might seem like there's a little bit of something hinky going on here, but I think Greg and I have talked about that. It's like, it's not a matter of, I'm not being paid to tell you what I've told you about VSA. It's just when you find a product that makes that significant a difference, or brings you to a point closer to the music that other things
down,
had
girl.
never done before,
Calm down, girl.
you become very loyal.
Yeah.
To that brand very quickly.
Clearly, yeah.
So
And
I'm not being paid to say that. Von Schweikert Audio,
And the way
for me does something magical.
well, and the way they treat their customers too.
Oh, absolutely.
They're
Yeah.
first class service and
Damon
care.
and Lee are wonderful guys. Yeah.
So, all right. So you've had a couple days in front of my rig.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, we know I'm insane, and that's fine. But what was probably because you've heard systems like this at shows and things. So what do you think? What surprised you the most about hearing the system? Was there anything that really you didn't expect or you had expected that isn't there? I mean, what was the biggest surprise for you hearing this?
Okay, well, I think
I know
that's
it's not an easy
it's
question.
two things, if
Okay.
I can mention
Yeah.
two, because they were equally important
Yeah.
to me. The first thing I noticed a few songs in was you have bass extension like I do. Yours goes deeper, of course. It's a larger speaker. But
And it's a larger room. I can actually develop a fuller cycle.
Right,
This
but-
room will develop a 24 hertz note, full length.
right, okay. So
Which
I mean,
helps
we're going
the way it
very
sounds.
very low in this room.
Yeah.
But no matter how low you got and how much we pumped up the volume and how much energy was coming at me, there were no. There felt like there were no bumps in the room
Yeah.
where things got really pressurized and started to vibrate. I'm still working on that.
Well, yeah,
I still struggle
yeah.
with it because my room isn't quite as dialed in. I've gotten some treatments in that have helped with that, but I'm still working on that. But once again, the smoothness and the subterraneanness of
Yeah.
the lower bass.
That's a good way to
Just-
say it.
But
Yeah.
it pressurizes you, but not in the way that.
Well,
that
it does
artificial-
compress the room. I mean,
Yeah.
we played that Santana piece and that
Oh.
door slam at the opening
Right.
of Crying Wind Singing Beast. It was like, woof, and you feel the wave
Yeah.
of pressure moving through the room.
Yeah,
It's hard to give.
kind of went like that.
Yeah.
Like the air pulled in and then went back out.
Yeah, it's really hard to give up that once you've got it. It's kind
Totally,
of tough.
yeah.
So
But
go
then
ahead.
the
I'm sorry.
second thing I wanted to mention was what really did it for me. This was true with a lot of records, like we put on Love Over Gold.
Yeah.
On LP.
Yeah.
We put on side one, which is Telegraph Road and Private Investigation.
Well, actually, did side
Investigations.
1 and 2 because they were the 45 RPM version
Right,
of the MoFi.
right,
But yes,
right, yeah.
the original side
I'm
one of
thinking-
the
yeah,
the
I'm
original
thinking-
side
I'm
one of the
thinking
release.
I'm thinking
yeah,
OG vinyl.
absolutely the right way to think about it. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
we actually had the 45 version.
So those are the tracks we listened to.
Yeah.
But then I played a James Taylor
Yeah.
track I asked you to put on for me.
Yeah.
I had it on CD. Greg didn't have it on LP because it's got two tracks have really good nuances and little subtleties going on in the mix. And this one song about at the intro of the second verse, this James Taylor song, it's called Jump Up Behind Me, in case you want to check it out. The drummer, Carlos Vega, actually starts tapping almost like kind of like a merengue type rhythm on the rim of the side of the floor tom. I hear that at home, and it sounds very natural. I'm a drummer, so I always look for very natural, organic drum sounds. That sound was 20 feet back from your back wall and about 3 feet outside your speaker limit. And that was an aha moment. That was like, whoa, you know. So again, what we want to emphasize is it was, my system does a good job with it.
Absolutely, sure.
It was just taking it to that next, like, okay, there's more to go here.
Yeah.
If you want to bring it to the table,
yeah.
you can take this as far as you want.
Yeah,
you
it's an illness. Yeah. It's a disease for me.
But you don't have to. That's
No,
the beautiful thing about it.
you know,
at any budget,
well, yeah.
carefully curated.
Yeah, exactly.
Synergistic products can do wonders.
This is what I've been trying to tell people. You know, everybody says, "Oh, he's off in this hyper audio thing," and well, yes, I am, but only because I'm trying to see how far. You know, these guys keep doing things that bring us closer and closer and closer to the live event. I don't know that we ever will get there. I'm not saying it can't be possible. I don't know that it is, but we get closer every day, and that's where I want to go. But I don't. You know, you can have a $500 system that makes music. And that's the whole point.
Brings a tear to your eye.
Yeah.
Makes you want to get
well,
up and dance.
we were both weepy the other night. We played a couple. We played a
He
couple
played
of
an
cuts.
Elton John track that had me weeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
partly because of the of the content
The
of
content,
the lyrics,
yeah.
and partly because
The power of the
way it
performance.
was being delivered
Yeah.
through a world class system.
yeah, I mean, it was staggering. It was good.
Yeah.
Is there anything about this system that you find objectionable, or that you would want to improve or change, or anything like that?
That's a brave question.
Well, it is. I mean, look, nothing's perfect.
Right.
I mean, this is pretty pricey rig, and it's all been put together by ear. I mean, this works better with that than that did. That's why it's here. Those cables work better with this than those did. That's why it's here.
Right.
But you know as well as I do, everything is a compromise. Everything.
Yep.
And this is, I mean, thank you for saying it's world class. I believe it is.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know, what would you change about it if you could change anything?
And again, that's a brave question. And I told you when I first showed up here, I said I'm not going to BS you or blow smoke up your skirt. You know.
Damn well better not. I'll throw you out of the chair.
You remember you put on, I think it was Tumbleweed Connection, and I
Maybe.
said, what a great album, and it was a great version of the album and everything. But that was the one where, after hearing amazing stuff, I said, I'll be honest with you, the low end, I would have preferred it to. It felt a little.
Yeah,
his
but
voice
that was
sounded,
the recording, not the system.
well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You didn't let me finish.
Yeah,
It's like,
sorry.
I found most of it was recording dependent. There were some recordings that it's just, and if anything, I think I could argue that maybe I could play that LP on my system and I'd be happy with it. But because at this level of resolution, the dangerous thing about high resolving systems is that you start to hear when things aren't exactly where they can be. You know?
Which is what has led me to go through so many records.
Yeah. So you're just searching for that one that is like, there's the sparkle at the top.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing, is again, recording dependent. There were a few of them where I was like, and again, part of that is I'm a drummer.
Yeah.
I like to hear my cymbals.
Oh, yeah.
I probably like things tilted a little bit sweeter and more sparkly on the top. There were a couple of tracks that, but once again, when it was right, like on Tori Amos's Little Earthquakes.
Oh my God, yeah.
Now, part of sparkle, even though it's much lower in the range, is piano.
Oh yeah.
The way this system does piano.
Oh my God. Well, and that's the one thing.
It sounds like a big giant box filled with strings that are being struck by hammers.
Yeah.
And it's no question. It's like it's in the room with you.
Yeah. With the proper recording,
You're not hearing
obviously.
a recording of it.
With the
You're
proper
hearing
recording.
the instrument. Exactly. Yeah.
Now, I'm curious. You didn't mention, and I'm not. I'm just wondering if it is because it was like, oh my God, it was so natural. I didn't think of it. Or one of the things that I think this system does almost better than maybe 3 or 4 other versions of similar systems I've heard is scaling.
Absolutely. Yep. The only thing I've heard better than scaling, big surprise, is the Ultra 11s at shows.
Yeah,
and that makes sense because now you're going up to the flagship level.
Well, it's two of these standing top. You know, this is like the double Advent. You put the two nines together.
You don't want 11s in your room.
I don't. I like they wouldn't fit. Or
it
I would have
had argue that a lesser speaker of that size, that would even be too big, too much speaker for the room. The way Greg has it dialed in, that speaker gave me the scale in your room, which is a fraction of the size of that ballroom at Capitol Audio Fest that I've been in a couple of times. To see Damon and Leif and listen to that amazing system. It was hearing that level of scale, as if the Ultra 11s were playing in a large ballroom.
Yeah,
and I'm hearing that in a 15 by 25 space.
Well, it's
or 18 by 25.
It's 13 by 46.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm counting to the back of the listening.
Yeah, that doesn't
chair.
count. It's
Right.
the fullness of the room.
You do have
So
it.
in Capital Audio Fest, that room's 50 by 50 by 10 and a half.
Okay.
So they can get well, I can get a 24 hertz note full length. They can do it. That's one of the reasons you like the bass in here.
Yeah,
Plus, the woofers on the Ultras, the what do they call it? The room integration suite. You can control the phase, the amplitude, and the frequency on the subwoofers. And by controlling the phase, I don't mean 0 or 100, or 0 or 180 rather. You do 0 to whatever you want. And I was fortunate enough. Leif Swanson, who designed these speakers, was here in the room while I sat in the chair. He was tweaking the dials, and I said, "There." And he goes, it was funny when he got done. He's like, "Dude, that's exactly where I put this stuff in most situations." He goes, "The room," and I got lucky with the room. I told you when he was here, he walked from the chair to the fireplace to the chair, shaking his head. I'm like, "What?" He goes, "The room doesn't load," and you picked up on that right away.
No loading, no nulls.
It's amazing. It's 80% luck and 20% I measured before I came, but.
Yep.
Well, listen, pal, is there anything else you want to add about your system or this system or the experience? I mean, I just want people to understand the reason we're talking about this is so that people understand that it's not about how much you throw at the system. It's about the energy and time and thought you invest in it so that you get products that work with each other, that don't, and I want to mention this briefly. If you have a speaker that's a little bright, okay, let's say it's a +2 instead of a 0. And you use an amplifier or a set of cables that are a little dark. Let's say they're a -2 instead of a 0. -2 and +2 is not 0. It's a difference of 4.
Right.
So, just seasoning to taste isn't always the right way to do this. But is there anything you wanted to add about this and suggest how people find their systems?
We talked a lot, Greg and I, about why we became fast friends. And it was really the thing that put us over the top was Capital Audio Fest 2021, where we had a room full of people in an after show event.
All those after-hour LP sessions.
Yeah, the Guilty Treasures of Crime of the Century.
Yeah.
And we had a room full of people that after Greg played that album, some of us have been raised to be okay with our emotions, so I had tears running down my face. Some of these tougher looking guys you could tell were choked up.
Oh, yeah.
They just didn't want to show a tear.
Yeah.
But the point being that, and I shared something about how much music has meant to me over the years, literally saving my life a couple of times. Yeah. And that's what really locked you on to me. And you were like, okay, let's keep in touch. But just to make the point that at the end of the day, like Greg was saying, it's like, it's nice if you can afford the esoteric, high-end, expensive stuff. It's great. But it's not necessary. What you're looking for in a system, the holy grail is that, and you have to love music in the beginning.
Yeah, that's
from the get-go. Yeah.
That's why we do this crazy stuff. Yeah,
because we're seeking that thing, that engagement, where all of a sudden you put on one of your favorite records or something you've never known before. Yeah. That's a revelation to you.
Come on, baby.
And you go,
hey, Stella.
It speaks to your heart. Come on, baby. It speaks to your soul. It maybe brings a tear to the eye or makes you smile or chuckle. Yeah. That level of engagement and connection. It's like, and that's what you and I obviously shared, and
that's why we do this.
That's the beautiful thing of the hobby. There are a handful of those guys out there, and I don't want to be their friends that are too tied into what they spend for the gear, and how much their system costs. You're not that guy.
No,
you could be, but you're not.
But it's not about. Look, my wife would be happy if I didn't spend all this money. But,
mine too.
but it's not about that. It's about the quest to get back to what these artists were trying to share with us.
Right.
So
that was the thing that, like I said, that I'm so glad I've made friends with you because the friendship is really it's based on a little bit of gear geekdom.
Well,
there's always that.
That's what starts. Stella,
it's based on
come here, baby. Come on.
Finding people that
sweetheart.
That music means that much to them, and music has transformed their lives in such important and satisfying and enriching ways.
Well, Charlie, thank you so much for your time, buddy.
Oh.
I appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm honored to be part of your content. You put out some great content.
Thanks, buddy.
This is just, like I said, such an
honor.
And
you little shitbird.
And of course.
You're going to be locked out of the next couple. You're too riley today. You're just too wound up. Yes, I know.
This is Stella, baby, and she's the best.
All right, baby girl. Thanks again, Charlie, for taking the time to visit and to share your time with us. Now, guys, if all goes as planned, next week I'll have another discussion with another audio friend, one who is an internationally recognized percussionist and composer and an audio equipment reviewer. Thank you for taking the time to drop by today. Please click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Be sure to post comments or questions, and please like and share links to your favorite episodes with your friends or on social media. Information on supporting the channel may be found in today's description section or at my website, theaudioanalyst.com. Please stay safe and keep the music playing. Till next time, cheers.